In this lesson today, we're going to be converting customary units. We discussed what the customary units are involved in length, and we have the units there. 12 inches equals a foot, 3 feet equals 1 yard, 36 inches equals 1 yard, 5,280 feet are in a mile, 1,760 yards are in a mile, and then in inches there are 63,360 inches in 1 mile. That is for length. When we're doing weight, 16 ounces are in a pound, 2,000 pounds in a ton, and 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. For capacity, when we're denoting capacity, 8 fluid ounces are in 1 cup, 2 cups are in a pint, 16 fluid ounces are in 1 pint, 2 pints are in a quart, 4 cups are in 1 quart, 32 fluid ounces are in 1 quart, 4 quarts are in 1 gallon, 8 pints in 1 gallon, 16 cups in a gallon, and 128 fluid ounces are in a gallon. So these should be memorized in whatever form is going to be easy for you, because you're going to learn how to convert these units. Here is an example of one way people have memorized the measuring of capacity, and we also have a gallon guide that you can use. So now we're going to apply some of these measurements in real life stories. In our example 4 in your notes, in 1976, the artist Christo built a 24-mile-long fabric fence in Marin and Sonoma counties, California. He and his team joined together pieces of fabric, each 63 feet long, to form the fence. How many yards was each piece? So in this example, there is some information that is not needed in order to solve the question. The question that they're asking in this is, how many yards was in each piece? And in the information that we have, there are 63, each piece is 63 feet long. So it does not really matter how long the fence was. The question is asking how many yards was in each piece. So we're going to take 63 and we're going to divide it by 3 because there are 3 feet in a yard. 63 divided by 3 is 21. Your final answer will be 21 yards. In our next real life example, in 1996, the Olmec Art of Ancient Mexico exhibit was on display at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. It included among the 3,000-year-old works was a sculpture of a head that weighed 9.5 tons. How many pounds did this sculpture weigh? So in the notes that you have, the first thing you do is you write down what you know. So in this problem we know, we write down the problem. The first step is to write down the problem. The problem is we have 9.5 tons. How many pounds is in that? That's the first step, write down the problem. The second step is to write down what you know. So right below it, we know that 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. So notice how the numbers are displayed. If your numbers are at a diagonal, you multiply. 9.5 times 2,000, which is equal to 19,000. So when in 9.5 tons, there are 19,000 pounds. This is a formula, if you are not able to work it out in your head, it's a formula that you can use. The first step is write down the problem. Second step, you write down what you know, depending upon how your numbers line up, as if you were going to divide or multiply. In our examples on number 6, we have several examples of the conversion. I've already had the answers up here for you, but we're going to determine how to get the answers that are given. So, in your notes, you have A written down. right below it, we're going to write down what we know. We're going to write down what we know, and we know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So we are taking now 35 divided by 16 because there's 16 ounces in a pound. 16 goes into 35 2 times with 3 left over. So 35 ounces is equal to 2 pounds, 3 ounces. We're going to write down what we know. So notice, if there are 2 pints in 1 quart, you have 5 of them. 5 divided by 2 is 2 with 1 pint left over. In C, we have 24 ounces. 24 ounces is equal to what in pounds? We know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So when we divide, 16 goes into 24 one time, 1 whole, with 8 left over. So it would be 1 8/16, but you're going to reduce this to 1 1/2 pound. So in D, we write down what we know. There's 1 pint. It's equal to 2 cups. We multiply 15 times 2, and that makes 30 cups and 15 pints. So in E, we know that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So how many times does 12 go into 35? 2 times with 11 left over. So 2 11/12 foot is in 35 inches. So in F, we know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. 43 divided by 16, it goes in there 2 whole times with 11 ounces left over. So in G, we know that in 1 mile there's 5,280 feet. So we need to multiply 5,280 by 1 2/3. We changed 1 2/3 to an improper fraction in order to multiply. Then we simplified before we multiplied. We ended up multiplying 5 times 1760, giving us 8,800 feet. So in H, the problem is how many 13 feet are equal to how many inches? We write down what we know. There's in 1 foot, there's 12 inches. So we take 13 times 12 and get 156 inches. In I, we have 4 5/8 pounds is equal to 74 ounces. We know that there's in 1 pound, there's 16 ounces. So notice our numbers again are going to be diagonal. So we're going to take 4 5/8 and multiply it times 16. So we have 4 5/8 pounds. We're going to multiply it times 16. We change 4 5/8 to an improper fraction, which makes it 37/8 times 16. We simplified before we multiplied, and our final answer is 74 ounces. In J, we have 15 pints is equal to how many quarts? I know that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. So I'm going to divide. 15 divided by 2 is 7. And I have 1 left over to be 15 pints is equal to 7 1/2 quarts. In K, if I have 0.5, which is a half a gallon of milk has 2 quarts in it. And in L, I know that there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. 2 over 8, 2 divided by 8. You can actually put this in a fraction. Simplify it because it's 2 over 8. Reduce to 1/4 cup. So if I have 2 fluid ounces, that is equal to 1/4 of a cup. Now in these examples right here, we're given a real life example of one type of wakeboard weighs 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Another type of wakeboard weighs 6 pounds, 14 ounces. In A, we're asked to find the sum of the weights. They're asking for the sum, so we're going to add them together. 14 plus 6 is 20 ounces. 7 plus 6 is 13 pounds. But that is not going to be our final answer because there are 16 ounces in a pound. So I have another pound here in this 20 ounces. So I'm going to take another pound here and add it to my pounds, which will make it 14 pounds. And after I took the 16 ounces away, I had 4 left over. So my final answer is going to be 14 pounds and 4 ounces. And B, it's asking you to find the difference in the two. So notice we can't take 14 from 6. So we're going to regroup. We're going to take a pound from here, and 1 pound is 16 ounces. So we're going to take those 16 ounces, add it to the ounces that we already have. This will change to 22. Now we can subtract. 14 from 22 is 8. 6 minus 6 is 6. So the difference in the two weights is 8 ounces. Now, I'm going to ask for you to complete A, B, and C. I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back and check our work. So notice when we're finding the difference in A, when we add the fluid ounces, we come up with 11 fluid ounces, and the cups are 11 cups. But notice there is another cup in the fluid ounces. So we took 8 from 11 and added that to our cups, which made it 12 cups. And then 3 fluid ounces is the final answer. In B, we again added our ounces and our pounds. We ended up with 18 ounces, which there's another, with 18 ounces, there is another pound in there. So we took 16 ounces from 18, added it to our pounds, which our final answer is 15 pounds and 2 ounces. And our final one, we are subtracting. So notice that we cannot take 9 inches from 3 inches. So we're going to go over to the 10 feet, and we're going to take a foot from there. We're going to regroup it. So we're going to use 1 foot, and there are 12 inches in a foot. So we're going to take those 12 inches, add it to the 3 that we already have, which will give us 15 inches. 9 from 15 is 6, for 6 inches. 4 from 9 is 5 feet. In the last part of your notes, we are going to order the measurements from least to greatest. In order to do that, you're going to need to convert them all to the same unit in order to compare them. Notice we have feet, yards, and inches, but we have 2 of our examples have feet. So you'll need to convert them. I would convert them all to feet. That means I would only have to do 2. So converting them to a similar measure of unit, then compare and putting them from least to greatest in their original format. The same with the second unit of capacity. I would put them all in gallons. Compare, then order them from least to greatest. I'm going to pause the video and come back and check our answers after I have converted them to the same unit, and then I'll put the answers back in their original format. Okay, again, on each of these examples, the answer is in red. We use the technique of conversion from the previous slides and then ordered them from least to greatest. So in our first example, 2 1/4 yards can change to 6 3/4 feet. 76 inches can change to 6 1/3 feet. So when we compare them, 76 inches is the smallest, 6 2/5 feet next, 6 2/3 feet next, and 2 1/4 yard is the next. In our final example, we converted 8 1/4 quarts to gallons, which is 2 1/16 of a gallon, and 16 4/5 pints into 2 1/10 gallons, and then ordered them from least to greatest. 8 1/4 quart, 16 4/5 pints, 2 1/3 gallon, 2 2/5 gallon. So, using the techniques of conversion, we're able to order them from least to greatest.